Hey, gonna walk y'all through the Yikatoo Tundra bumper install on a 2012 Sequoia. Comes in 4 big pieces. You get a center section, a right section, a left wing, and a winch carrier. That's the kind of the main piece that bolts to the frame. No instructions in the box. Comes in 2 massive boxes. We've got all the hardware laid out here. You get 14 medium bolts. You get 8 shorter bolts, lots of nuts, lots of lock washers, and assortment of large and small washers. So what I found is there's 4 holes on each side that look like they would take the shorter bolts pretty easily. So that's what I ended up doing. I did 4 on the right and 4 on the left. And then everything else was used to bolt the brackets to the winch carrier and then bolt the bumper to the bracket to get it onto the frame. So kind of walking you through what all that looks like on the side there. And then you also get these little adhesive pieces that'll stick on. I'll show you those in a second. They go between the bumper. It also comes with these little spacer pieces that seem to go right here on the wings. Also, you get 4 of your LED lights, and those all come with individual hardware, pretty straightforward. Bolt comes through this way, washer, lock washer, nut, pretty straightforward. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This is the right wing. And just take your short bolts and line them up and put them through. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. So this kit came with a lot of hardware and big washers and small washers. And so you see here, I'm kind of comparing back and forth. I wasn't really sure which washers went where. So I ended up going with smaller washers, bolting the wings on, and then ended up using the bigger washers for the getting the actual bumper onto the frame with the brackets you'll see here in a sec. Alright, so this is the winch plate. This is the centerpiece that actually bolts onto the car. What we're looking at here is the bracket that bolts the bumper onto the winch plate. So what we're looking at here is more or less the same thing we were doing on the wings. We're just doing this to secure this onto the plate, and then the bumper will go into these 3 holes that make an L at the top here. You just gotta get your fingers in there and tighten everything up. Alright, so looking back at the bumper, these little plates with 3 holes in them in the shape of an L, you have a plate with 3 screws on it that you're going to put through there facing the rear of the vehicle, and that's going to line up with the brackets that you just put onto the winch carrier, which we'll pan back over and look at that in a second. Yeah, so that's going to match up with the plates that you put on over there. And there's your little L brackets there, and there's your same thing, L bracket on the plate that goes on the winch plate. Once you get all that snugged up, it should fit on the vehicle. I'll take some pictures after it's on, show you what that looks like as well. Alright, so looking at the bumper, you're going to have to take out some of these little tabs with a flathead screwdriver or a pull tab. This front fender flare has one way deep in here, and you can use a flathead or a pull tool, and it all comes out pretty easily. I wouldn't go too far over the wheel though. Looking under the driver's side here, you've got 2 screws that are both 10mm. They come out pretty easy. Another 3 going across the center, and then another 2 over on this side, but the light's fighting me here, but same thing. Same thing here on the passenger side. We're going to remove any of these tabs that are along the edges. You're going to have to remove that big crash bar. There's 3 holes there that line up with 3 holes where the bumper will eventually mate onto the frame. You're also going to have to take several screws across the top of the factory bumper to get it off. Alright, so we're under the vehicle looking towards the back. you've got these 4 screws that go into the frame through the winch plate. Okay, let's just that away on both sides. And if you circle around, you've got 3 going in. This is your bracket that's holding everything together. And then spinning again, there's this L thing I was talking about earlier. 1, 2, 3, and it's just a mirror image on the other side. This is your left wing. 1, 2, 3, 4. All your lights, and everything's the exact same on the other side. Here we are on the passenger side, looking back, same thing. 4 bolts going into the frame. 3 bolts here holding this bracket to the carrier, and then this L shape, 1, 2, 3, is what bolts the bumper to the carrier. So these bolts bolt the bracket to the carrier and then the bumper to the bracket, okay? Now if I was y'all, I would put this bracket on here first. That would probably make your life easier. And then the whole thing slides over this. Okay, you got these big slits here, so these are on the carrier and they actually come through the bumper, all right? All right, so this bumper took me and a buddy about 4 hours to install. I would definitely recommend having a friend if you're trying to install this bumper. It does fit a Sequoia. It bolts straight to the frame. You will have a small gap below the grill. The Sequoia grills are just a little bit shorter. But the lights are super bright. It works great. I don't really have any complaints. You will need somebody to help hold the bumper onto the carrier while you get those bolts. This was able to help you get this installed. And obviously, quick disclaimer, I am not a mechanic. I am a DIYer. If you use this video to install this bumper, you're assuming your own risk, your own safety. If something bad happens to you, if you damage your vehicle, that is completely 100% on you. You are doing that of your own free will and volition. But hope y'all had fun watching this video, and I hope that if you do decide to go with this bumper, that this was helpful to you.